as Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he entered a village, and a woman called Martha welcomed him to her house. And she had a sister named Mary, who sat down at the Lord's feet to listen to his words. Martha, meanwhile, was busy with serving, all the serving she had to do. And at last she said, so she'd been thinking as she's scurrying around, as Mary's sitting at Jesus' feet looking up. Martha's very preoccupied with stuff, but something's building up in her in these just first few moments of Jesus' arrival. And at last she said, she speaks now what she's been thinking. Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do all the serving alone? Tell her to help me. Can you imagine saying that to Jesus? I mean, this is pretty disordered, right? Now, what's funny is this woman's a great saint. So Stephanie and I have led pilgrimage to France, where she eventually was a missionary to France and really had this huge impact. There's no doubt Martha's a good woman. But I want to tell you, she's not quite deeply converted yet. This is not the deeply converted Martha that evangelized France. Not yet, anyway. This is a disordered woman at this stage who's yet to figure out what's really important. She has some idea Jesus is very important. Jesus needs to be served. But she's not quite there yet. She doesn't get it yet. So much so that she questions the Lord. It's like an accusation. What's wrong with you? She's not helping. Don't you care? Are you serious? Are you serious? Asking Jesus that. You don't care about me. I'm busy. You're not paying attention. This is unjust. She's doing nothing. She's doing nothing. I'm doing something. She's doing nothing. I'm doing something. You see how disordered this is? Lord, don't you care? And it produces a bitterness. It causes us to question God when we have this natural perspective on what's going on. That's all Martha has in this picture at this stage, prior to her conversion, in my opinion. Deeper conversion. All she sees is the temporal. Who sees the eternal? Who knows what's more important? So this focus on activity, she's questioning God. And it feels a little bitter. This is unjust. Do you not care that my sister has left me to do the serving alone? Don't you care that my sister doesn't know what's most important, and I'm tired and running around? And now she has the gall to tell the Messiah what to do about it. This is really nuts when you look at it. Tell her to help me. Wow. It's really crazy. Thank God he answered so we could get this all straightened out. He says, but the Lord answered, Martha, Martha, you are worried and troubled about many things. I don't really know what this sounded like. I don't know how it would hit Martha. I just have this sense that when Jesus spoke, it had this kind of reverberation that would enter the soul, heart, and mind of the person. And when it was supposed to shake them, it would shake them internally. Like if he decided to speak in that kind of power that only he could, as being fully God and fully man. So I don't really know. I do know he was gentle. We know this. He was very gentle and very kind and patient with people who were a little off track. So maybe it was Martha, this shaking. I imagine if it was her, my instinct is it probably was spoken with some power and some gravity to get through to her, because she's frantic. She's not at peace. Right? So some power. And I can imagine her as he spoke her name twice. It wasn't just once, it was twice. The effect may have had her step back. And her eyes get a little big. Like, oh gosh, what have I done? And then he speaks in a way that I have no doubt ripped right into her heart. Martha, Martha, you worry and are troubled about many things. And he said, whereas only one thing is needed. Unum est necessarium. One thing is necessary. Mary has chosen the better part. There's one thing, he said. Man, he could have said a lot here. He could have just talked with her about her anxiety at a deeper level and dealt with that, and he didn't. But instead he said, no, I'm not, in essence, I'm not going to ask her to get up and get busy. He said, because Mary has chosen that one thing. She's chosen the thing that is better than what you have chosen. And it will not be taken away from her. It's almost like, if you could get the posture, Martha is coming with the anxious and the anxiety. Mary's here on the floor in front of Jesus. Martha speaks. And it's almost like she shields Martha from Mary to protect Mary and what she's doing. Says, no. She has it right. She's chosen the one thing that's necessary, the better part. I'm not going to take that from her. What is the implication? It's an invitation. Won't you join her, Martha? Because I guarantee you, because we know Martha's a good woman. We know that. A little disordered at this stage. But I guarantee you, the next time they visited this house in Bethany, Martha worked just because she's good. She got a little extra help. They got all the food ready. And as soon as Jesus arrived, she and Mary together were at Jesus' feet. Don't you think that's probably what happened with Martha? How else could she become a great saint? After being rebuked by the Lord, I think a great saint has to respond and say, yes, you're right, Lord, I'm sorry. We don't have that on record, but we certainly have the fruits of that reality. Mary has chosen the better part and will not be taken away from her. This is the year of prayer. This is a year where Martha should be celebrated and exalted. Mary, should be celebrated and exalted for choosing that one thing. This is a year where we ought to hear the Lord saying to us, Come and sit at my feet. Would you please choose this better thing, this better part? This is a year where the Lord is saying to you, are you tired enough yet of all of the anxiety that you feel? Are you tired enough of being subject to the fear that you feel? The anger, the angst, the hurt, the darkness. This is a year of invitation of the Lord saying, won't you come and sit with me? Don't you know that I can heal you? Don't you know that all that ails you, that I paid the price for? Don't you know that I love you? And don't you know that you don't have to do all this scurrying around? You don't need to prove yourself to me. Do you believe in me? Do you trust me? Then wouldn't you just come and sit with me? Don't you know that I created you so that you would come and sit with me? Don't you know that you are beautiful to me? And that you're irresistible to me? Please come and sit.